one of those other issues that. Oh, I thought you meant. Oh, just that first one? Oh, okay. That's fine. Okay, so we'll go straight as we were going there. So that would be Mr. Sutton first. 1 minute.
The problem is the federal government doesn't have any money. We're broke. That's the nature of a $13 trillion national debt. We don't have the money. That's the nature of a deficit. We gave them our money. It wasn't enough. They spent it. Now where are they getting this money that they're giving back to these programs? Where's that money coming from? Well, some of it's probably coming from China, other places. And guess who's picking up the tab? We are. You can't just continue to spend money and expect to grow prosperity. You can't just keep spending money that we do not have. There is no money.
Comment on three things. Stimulus. Stimulus was passed in February of 2009, and through June, the result has been an additional $3 trillion in national debt and 3 million jobs lost in the private sector. Clearly, that's not working. Number two, bailout of the states. We had budget problems, no doubt. But now the state of Ohio faces an $8 billion plus budget problem, which is a lot bigger than the problem we faced in the last budget, so it was prolonged. And the second part of that is it right for the federal government to be bailing out states when you've got some states that did a better job or more fiscally responsible than other states? And the other thing that's interesting, when they talk about the $26 billion, they went back to Washington to vote on about a month ago, and they said it's pay as you go. 16 billion of that 26 billion was going to be paid by cutting food stamps in 4 years. So that'd be like somebody going out and wanting to buy a boat, has to borrow the money to do it, and they justify it in their own mind, well, it's going to be all right because in 4 years from now, I'm going to spend less money. That's not how we should be doing budgets. They didn't pass a budget this year. They don't have a blueprint. They passed CRs, continuing resolutions, and that just keeps the spending going.
This isn't Zach Space talking. These figures can be backed up. It's a fact. In the last 8 months, unemployment in our district has gone down 23%. The stock market is strong and viable. Housing sales are up. Retail sales are up. New starts and construction are up. Every single leading economic indicator would suggest that we're getting out of this recession. Now, I have a question that I hope Bob will be able to answer for us, perhaps in the next series of questions. I have a feeling we're going to be talking a lot about the economy. I'd like to know what it is about his philosophy and his policy when it comes to economics that differs from the Bush economic policies that put us into this situation that we're fighting so desperately to get out of. One of the other areas that ranked right in that same portion there, terrorism. Again, 42 of the 74 felt that was extremely important. And another question on the survey was, do you think that the United States is doing the right thing by fighting the war in Afghanistan now, or should the U.S. not be involved in Afghanistan at this point? 34 says the right thing. 26 said we shouldn't be involved. 13 did not know, they just weren't sure. If we could just take a few minutes and go for each one of you and talk a little bit about your stance on Afghanistan. Starting this time with Mr. Gibbs.
Well, Ken, I think the question you asked first is really on terrorism and Afghanistan, so I want to address that. I think we can be thankful that we haven't had another attack on our homeland since 2001. It's amazing. So something must be they must be doing something right. But I do have some concerns. I'm concerned about this administration, this Congress that doesn't secure our borders. So terrorism terrorist. It's a miracle that a terrorist hasn't walked across the border with a dirty bomb and do whatever they want to do. And we also got to strengthen up our visa program and our immigration policy in general. And I think we need to, if we know where the terrorists are, we need to go after them and destroy them. Because they are bent to destroy us. That is a fact, and we know that. And if we don't take the war to them, they'll take it to us. And, you know, I know we got a tough challenge over there in Afghanistan because we had a government over there with the Taliban and Karzai, the president. There's a lot of corruption. And, you know, somehow we need to get through to those people over there that there is a possibility of how they can develop their resources, because they've got, you see it on the top of the ground, it looks pretty barren and it doesn't look like the best environment. But underground, they've got a lot of minerals. They've got a lot of possibilities. And somehow we need to work with them, with our allies, the rest of the world, and get them to develop their resources that they have in their country. And because when people are in poverty and struggling, you have all this corruption and all the problems. And so somehow we need to work that way. But if we know where the terrorists are, with the military strength that we have with our allies, that we ought to be clear that we're going to take the terrorists out, and not you know, just dance around the issue. And you don't tell the enemy when you're leaving, because then they're just going to wait you out. So we got to be tough and don't bow down to the enemy and say, you know, take them out and make examples of them and no holds barred.
Real quick on the issue of terrorism, I agree with Bob in the sense that I think our porous borders represent a national security threat. I also think our cancerous reliance upon Arab oil represents a real national security threat that we need to deal with, and we have to stop letting the BPs and Exxon Mobils of the world dictate our energy policies. But as for Afghanistan itself, look, we're at war with Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda was given sanctuary in Afghanistan by the Taliban, and they were permitted to plot and plan and devise a scheme, an act of war, unlike any we had seen in this country since Pearl Harbor. It was committed against us in Washington and New York and a field in Pennsylvania. We cannot allow that situation to continue. We cannot allow that situation to happen again. But we also have to understand that we're never going to make Afghanistan look like Coshocton County, or Tuscarawas County, where I'm from, or Holmes County, where Bob and Lindsey are from. It's not going to happen that way. The most we can ever expect, and we need a plan, and that plan should be, under no circumstances should Al-Qaeda ever be given protection, cover, or safe haven in that country. Beyond that, they can govern themselves. Now, I think it is important for us, in an effort to get Al-Qaeda out of that country, to help provide Afghanistan with the tools they need in terms of developing some sense of economic independence. Part of that means using their natural resources in constructive ways. Part of it means eradicating this absurdly high illiteracy rate that exists in Afghanistan. And part of it means dealing with Pakistan in an honest and upfront fashion. You can't really even talk about Afghanistan without some consideration of what's happened and what is happening in Pakistan. The Pakistanis have to start being honest with us, or we cut off their aid. It's a very complicated formula, but I also agree with Bob in this. Tipping your hands during a poker game is no way to win the pot. All right? You can't tell them when we're going to leave. We have to set certain conditions, certain rules, and in my opinion, that rule is no safe haven for terrorist operations in your country, and you can have it back.